Hello, it's Alex and welcome to Hey Little Thrifter. Today I'm going to be talking about some horror films that I'm planning on watching during the month of October. I love the idea of doing 31 films for the month, but yeah, unfortunately it's just not going to happen. So for the past few years I have made a list of 13, which is much more doable, and I have made a video about it each year to just talk about what I'm looking forward to watching. And if you're interested in any more of my videos where I talk about horror films, then I do have a separate playlist for all of them, so you can go check them out if you so desire. And yeah, basically this is just going to be a very quick rundown of the 13 films on my watch list for the month. These are all first time watches for me, and I am going to be squeezing in a few rewatches, of course, like the original Halloween, because you can't not watch that film at this time of year. It's actually the law. Anyway, this is a fairly mixed bag of choices here, and starting from 1974 and going all the way to 2016, so I feel like we've got a good variety. A few of these are ones that are Halloween related in some way, whether it be a big part of the story or just like a minor thing, but either way they seemed like great additions to a Halloween list. And some of the others are not Halloween related at all, but they're just ones I wanted to see. I've got the list in year order of when they were released, but I'm just going to be watching them on a whim. And yeah, first up from 1974 is The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, also known as Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, directed by Jorge Grau. I believe he's a Spanish director, so I hope I pronounced that correctly. And this is a zombie film, and I believe it's set in England, so yeah, it seems like an interesting one I have been meaning to see for years, so it's high time I do so. Next up from 1980 is The Godsend, directed by Gabrielle Beaumont. This is an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Bernard Taylor, which is excellent. It's about a family who take in and adopt a young girl, and she's lovely, everyone loves her, but after a while one of their other children dies unexpectedly, and yeah, maybe this kid isn't so lovely after all. It's a creepy kid story, the book is great, so I'm looking forward to seeing the movie adaptation. Next, from 1982, is Alone in the Dark, directed by Jack Sholder. This is about a group of people who escape from a mental hospital and I believe go on some kind of murderous rampage. That's all I know, it sounds great. Next, from 1988, is Hack-O-Lantern, directed by Jag, I'm not quite sure, Mundra, and this is about a satanic cult who have some kind of ritual on Halloween. I mean, yeah, need I say more? Next up from 1988 is Primal Rage, directed by Vittorio Rambaldi. This is about some kind of virus that is unwittingly unleashed on the public. It's an Italian film, and yeah, you know I love me some good Italian horror. Even some bad Italian horror, quite honestly. So yeah, I think this one is going to be my cup of tea. Next up from 1993 is The Cormorant, directed by Peter Markham. This is another adaptation of a novel. This one is by Stephen Gregory, and it's one I read earlier this year and really enjoyed. Definitely one of my favourites of the year. It's about a couple and their young son who inherit a cottage in Wales from a family member who passes away. And the catch is that they also have to take care of this guy's pet cormorant. The book is dark and disturbing and really excellently written, and I'm really curious to see what the adaptation is like. It stars Ralph Fiennes, so you know they've got a solid lead there. I'm really looking forward to this one. Next up, also from 1993, is one that might surprise some of you that I haven't seen before. It is Hocus Pocus, directed by Kenny Ortega, and yeah, this is, I guess, not strictly horror, but it is Halloween-y, so it totally fits for this time of year. And this is one that I know pretty much everyone but me has seen. I think everyone talks about this every October, and I'm like quietly in the corner like, yeah, I still haven't seen that. And yeah, I think it's just one of those films that I never saw it when it came out, and then I haven't been like purposely avoiding it over the years, but it just hasn't really fallen in my lap. So anyway, at some point between last Halloween and this one, we found a copy of it on VHS in a thrift store, so I've been saving it for October and I'm gonna watch it finally. Next up, from 1995, is Vampire in Brooklyn, directed by Wes Craven. This is, yeah, pretty much exactly what it says on the tin. It's about a vampire and it's set in Brooklyn, and it stars Eddie Murphy and Angela Bassett, and it's one by Wes Craven that I haven't seen before, so yeah, definitely time I give this one a watch. Okay, next up, from 2006, is Monster House, directed by Gil Kenan, and this is an animated film, and I think it's more of a, you know, family friendly type one about a group of kids who find out that a house in their neighbourhood is actually a monster. And I've heard that this one is actually pretty scary, like for being a kids movie, so I've been meaning to watch it, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Next up, from 2011, is Fright Night, the remake, directed by Craig Gillespie. And yeah, not always a huge fan of remakes, and I remember when this one came out I was just like, no, not interested, but it recently came back onto my radar and I remembered that it stars Colin Farrell as the vampire, and I was like, yeah, why haven't I watched this yet? So that's literally the reason. Next, from 2013, is Dark Touch, directed by Marina Devan. This is about a young girl who is the sole survivor of some kind of murder of the rest of her family, and she is sent to live somewhere else, but it seems there's some kind of evil that was present that has now followed her to where she now lives. It's set in Ireland, and I've seen one other film by this director called In My Skin, which came out like 15 years ago or something, and definitely sounds a lot different to this one, but I am intrigued to check it out. Okay, we've got two more on the list. Next up, from 2015, is Bone Tomahawk, directed by S. Craig Zahler, and all I know about this is that it's a horror western and apparently it's very gruesome. So yeah, and it stars Kurt Russell, so I'm in for all of that. And last up, from 2016, is I Am Not a Serial Killer, directed by Billy O'Brien. This is based on a novel as well, although I haven't actually read this one, but I've heard good things about both book and film. And this one is about a teenager who has some kind of homicidal urges, and I think he is trying to hunt down a serial killer, like I guess killing the killer. I'm not entirely sure, but I've heard good things about it, so definitely want to check this one out. So that is it, my quick rundown of the 13 horror films I'm looking forward to watching this month in the run-up to Halloween. Let me know if you've seen any of these. Let me know what you're going to be watching this month. I am excited for all of the horror this month, like even more than usual, and hopefully I'll be able to cram in a few more films as well as the ones on this list. We will see, and I'll definitely report back in November with my thoughts on everything I've watched this month. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!